really big event. We are starting the first session with this wines from Cyprus, and yes, it's a very. We have many VIPs on the board, amongst the others, Mr. Ambassador. But let me start with Mr. Andras Christou, the commercial counselor of the Embassy of Cyprus in Poland. Andras?
Thank you, Piotr. Indeed, it's a very, very important event, and a very, very big hello from me for Cyprus. Hello to Poland as well. I hope you all see me and hear me. So as we go right into what we are supposed to do tonight, I would like to welcome you all in today's event, and I'm looking forward to hearing and seeing some interesting presentations, followed, of course, by tastings. We view this event, which is the very first of its kind, being organized by the Cyprus Embassy Trade Center in cooperation with Slow Guide and, of course, with our minister in Cyprus, as a first-class opportunity to start making Cyprus wines more known to the Polish market. Definitely, this action is not going to be the last. In fact, we plan to put together many other events so as to continue promoting our wine products, which we strongly believe will be loved by the Polish consumers. I'm not going to, even though I can go on and speak for many things, wonderful things about wines and our exports and our activities and things like that, but I think this should not be the case, and I'm not going to take any more of your valuable time. So I kindly request our ambassador, Mr. Petros Nagouzis, to say a few words. Petros, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Christou. Dear participants, allow me first of all to extend to all of you a very warm welcome from the Cyprus Embassy in Warsaw. Cyprus has been a wine-growing and wine-producing country for millennia, as there is archaeological evidence that winemaking on our Mediterranean island existed as many as 5,500 years ago. The archaeological excavations at Pyrgos and Erimi sites prove that the findings are the oldest in the Mediterranean, and therefore Cyprus is the cradle of enological development throughout the Mediterranean basin. The impressive colorful mosaics of Paphos from the Greco-Roman times demonstrate more than one aspect of winemaking and consumption, while a plethora of antiquities found and exhibited in our museums are the remarkable testimony of our wine heritage. Internationally, the best-known Cypriot wine is the Commandaria sweet wine, named as such by the Knights of St. John, who made it famous throughout the kingdoms of Europe during the Crusades. Most wine production remains based on a few varieties of local grapes, such as Maratheftico and Xinisteri, although international varieties are also cultivated in Cyprus, such as Sauvignon Blanc, Chardonnay, Cabernet Sauvignon, Shiraz, and Merlot. Today, the modern Cyprus wine industry, following its famous past, is in the state of evolution and rediscovery, focusing on the indigenous grape varieties that were long overshadowed by their far more famous counterparts, mainly from France. As a result, Cyprus winemakers learn more about the ideal conditions for each native grape, experiment with new ancient winemaking techniques, and concentrate on what makes Cyprus wine special and unique. This process, driven by love and passion for winemaking, has already started to bear fruits, enabling Cypriot wines to emerge in the rest of the world, unique value, and setting a trend in the world of wine lovers. Cyprus wineries are getting noticed and are receiving important awards in the most prestigious world wine competitions. Fighting the challenges, Cyprus is making major efforts to market and promote its new world-class wines, and we think it's about time to explore export the possibilities in the Polish market as well. Towards this direction, I'm sure today's presentation will give the opportunity to Polish business people to start enriching their knowledge about our wine products. I'm looking forward to the proceedings of today's event, which I strongly believe will be beneficial to everybody. I wish every success to this event, hoping that the next one takes place in a COVID-free environment, enabling the Cypriot wine producers to meet in person their Polish friends. Mr. Christou, you have the floor.
Mr. Ambassador, thank you so much. Your speech has been so enlightening for us as always. And personally, I thank you very, very much for being so supportive to this event. On my behalf, I wish all participants, winemakers from Cyprus and our Polish colleagues here, every success, and I'm sure this event will prove useful to everybody. Piotr, the floor is yours to continue with this event.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Ambassador.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Christou. Thank you. Let's start now. As we start, we have to go to, I believe this is in Israel. Yes? Ido Levinson, first winery, Ido Levinson. And you are where you are actually now?
I am on my way to Cyprus. I'm in the airport in Tel Aviv.
On your way. Okay. So,
yeah.
Mr. Ambassador was the first ambassador ever at our seminar, and you're the first master of wine. So this is a very rare to have both the ambassador and the master of wine. You are not very numerous, yeah, the masters of wine.
No, there are some bit over 400 worldwide.
Okay. Yeah. Was it hard to get?
Extremely.
Okay.
It was hard for me. It was harder for my family because it took many years. Yeah. And lots of effort by all the family to support my travels. But a year ago, I got the title, so I'm very happy.
Okay, congrats. Okay, and you work now in Israel and in Cyprus, yes, for a new project in Cyprus.
Yes, I will be presenting Project X, and Project X is a joint venture between Kamanterena, between Sodap Winery from Cyprus and Tempo Group, which is a big beverage group from Israel, where I work as the chief winemaker of Barkan Winery, which is Israel's largest producer. And 2 years ago, we started this lovely project between myself and Alberto Antonini, which is a renowned wine consultant from Italy, and of course the Cypriot winemaking team of Kamanterena. And the purpose of our project is to produce, to give modern interpretation to ancient local Cypriot varieties. And it is quite curious because I come from a country that is very ancient, but our varieties are mainly international. And Cyprus, luckily, still has all of these beautiful local indigenous varieties. So this was really exciting project. And so, first of all, I wanted to say also I've been in Warsaw a few times for wine tasting, and I love it. So it's very exciting for me to be here tonight with you. And I'm partly Polish, so it's even more exciting. So let's start with the presentation. So this was and still is a joint venture between a few winemaking teams, and it is called Project X because X for the mystery or the mysterious project that we're about to start, and X because the first wine to release was X of the Xynisteri. So please proceed to the next slide. Also Yanis Karakakis, master of wine from Greece, helped us to begin with when we were looking for the first plots. So we were visiting vineyards, and we choose to focus on two varieties at the beginning, which were Xynisteri, which is the most widely planted white variety, and the red is Maratevtico. Please proceed. So we were looking for single vineyards expressions. So we were not looking into blends. We wanted to show Xynisteri from Paphos, from a single vineyard. And as you will see soon, the winemaking is a bit different because we used more of barrels and sort of giving new interpretation to those varieties. Let's proceed, please. So Eagle Rock is the name of it's the English translation for the vineyard that we chose, which is Artopetra. Pardon my Greek pronunciation. Let's proceed, please. So we are talking about 2019, and it's about 12.5% alcohol, which is quite usual for Xynisteri. Xynisteri does not reach high alcoholic volumes. It's typically around 12.5. It's a rather late ripening variety. It's quite curious for me when I was first harvesting in Cyprus that in Cyprus the harvest starts with white and goes to red, which is normal, but then it ends with Xynisteri, with white once again, because it is a very late ripening variety. So it's a very small vineyard, and the yield were quite low as well. Please proceed. So we made only 5 barrels, 5 big barrels, 500 liters. We are not using Barriques 225. We are using only 500 liters from Burgundian Tonnellerie that I personally like very much. And the reason to use 500 liters rather than 225 is simply because we wanted new oak, because this was a new project and we wanted everything fresh. But on the other end, we didn't want too much of oak impact, which 225 liters would be giving us. So 500 liters is a more complete and harmonious integration of oak, very typically. We also kept all of the lees there. We didn't do malolactic fermentation, so the wine was not clean or clear. It was quite turbid in order to absorb less of the oak. But again, new oak, yet 500 liters barrels. So we harvested in small beans and placed it overnight in a cooling chamber, very low temperature. Then we use carbonic ice to protect it against oxidation during the overnight cooling and the pressing the day after. Please proceed. So no malolactic, because Xynisteri, overall Xynisteri it's not very aromatic, but it's not neutral either. It's a semi-aromatic variety, and the acidity is not very high. So we wanted to keep as much as we can of the natural fresh acidity that it has, coming from altitude vineyards, because these vineyards are not extremely high, but they are about 5, 6, 700 meters high. So and it's got cooling influence from the Mediterranean Sea. So normal lactic fermentation for the white, and the wine is quite rich and expressive. The oak is, I think, very well integrated along with the fruit, with the stone fruit it has. Xynisteri typically has some stone fruit and some spices. And it's quite creamy and rich because of the 9 months aging on the lees. Let's proceed, please. So this was Project X Xynisteri, and the next wine is the Maratevtico. So these are the 500 liter barrels we keep on racks with wheels to allow us to do batonnage easily, just by spinning around the barrel. Let's proceed to the Maratevtico, and let's talk about it a little bit. So Maratevtico is, its curiosity is that it's not hermaphrodite, so it's not self-fertile. It needs every X amount of Maratevtico. We need other varieties to help the fertilization. It causes rather low yields and millerandage, which is when the cluster has some berries that are uncompleted, that are not evolved. So you see a cluster with lots of holes in it, so lower yield and different sizes of berries. This is also something we needed to think of when we were thinking about the maceration, because it can be quite assertive, quite tannic, because some of those berries are not really that ripe and some are more ripe. So Maratevtico and other red varieties as well in Cyprus, but Maratevtico is to watch out for the tannins. Personally, I like very silky and soft tannins, so I tried to do a maceration that is not too long, and it was about 3 days of cold maceration, then about a week of overall of further maceration, skin contact, pump over, and so on. This is again a single vineyard. Alcohol level here is about 13. Barrels we used are again 500 liters, Burgundian from the same Tonnellerie Cavan, small producer in Burgundy. Let's proceed, please. Aging here was much longer, so we made 7 barrels. So 5 barrels of Xynisteri, 7 barrels of Maratevtico. Cultivation is it's bush vines actually, which is quite common. And let's proceed to the next slide, please. So longer aging to also to soft up the tannins, to reach what I think now is rather smooth and soft tannins for Maratevtico. And it's quite deep in color. It's got this purple, lovely purple hue, lots of cherry, forest berries and spices. Personally, I love Maratevtico. I think it's a lovely variety. And that's about it. So Project X Xynisteri and Project X Maratevtico. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Aido. Thank you very much. Well, waiting for the comments. First comment are appearing, but tell me, less than 4,500 of reds and less than 3,000 of whites. What are your plans? The future? Do you want to make the production bigger, or do you want to keep it on the same level in future?
I'm not sure I heard all of it. I had a problem here, but you said, are we going to make the production bigger?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yes, but it is. We are producing it within the facility of Sodap, which is a very large winery. But we, as you saw, we only have these few barrels. No, we'll keep it small. We'll keep it small. It's a unique project. It's a boutique operation within a large facility. We'll keep it a bit larger, but not extremely. It will always be a sort of boutique line within the facility.
Okay, so there's a question about the climate change and the challenges related to it.
Well, I'm going to leave that, if I may, to my fellow Cypriot producers that are more knowledgeable about Cyprus. I make a lot of wine next to. I'm the neighbor next door, Israel, but and it's very close and it's very hot. But I think they will be better fit to answer that. And I need to catch my flight. I wanted to thank the Kamanterena winemaking team and Marinos, and wish you guys a lovely evening. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much, Aido. Where from in Poland, the family originally?
Well, from Bialystok area, and now it's Belarus, but it used to be Poland.
There's still some part of it.
It's right next to the border in Belarus, and
this border. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Aido. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Hope to see you in Poland. Bye bye.
See you. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Okay. Well, have a good flight. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. Now, what do you think about? Yes, Aristi, you're with us. Hello.
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening. So now we keep the right order, whites and reds afterwards. And Aristi, this is your time. And just inform us when you want us to change the slides, right?
Okay.
And you're in Cyprus, yes,
Aristi
actually.
Christodoulou.
You are in Cyprus.
Yes, I am in Cyprus now.
Okay,
yes.
Perfect. Okay, great.
I am Aristi Christodoulou from Malya Winery, Kio Group. I am chemist and enologist in Malya Winery. A few words about the winery. Malya Winery belongs to the Kio Group. Kio is a group of companies. The winery was established in 1927 and is one of the largest and oldest wineries in Cyprus. The capacity of the winery is 4 million liters. We receive approximately 3.5 million kilos of grapes, and the annual production of the winery is 2.5 million liters. It depends on the previous year's sales. It is located in the middle of the wine villages of Limassol at an altitude of 700 meters. Please proceed. Kio Estates owns about 50 hectares of vineyards with 17 different varieties, indigenous and European. Our vineyards are located around the winery, and from those vineyards, we make all the estate wines. The company also buys grapes from trusted vine growers from Limassol and Paphos area to cover its needs. Continuous experimental tests are carried out in order to find and revive the indigenous varieties of Cyprus, which have been forgotten through the years. Please proceed. Okay, now I'm showing you the different types of our wines which our company produces. Here we have the three lines, premium wines, varietal wines, and classic wines, both for the rosé and whites. And also we have our reds. Please, can you proceed to the next slide? Our premium wines, reds, varietal wines, and classic wines. The main difference between these wines is are the place where the grapes are cultivated and the protocols that we follow and the volumes we have to manage. If we talk about our estate wines, we have low volumes. And if we talk about the classic wine, we have big volumes. We have also the Commandaria. We buy and sell the most Commandaria in the island. Commandaria is the famous sweet wine of Cyprus. And we export Commandaria in Poland. please proceed. Now, about the Xynisteri that you have already tasted, the Xynisteri label. Xynisteri label 2020 is 100% Xynisteri. The production is about 100,000 liters, and the grapes come from vineyards from Limassol area. They are cultivated at an altitude of 500 meters in limestone soil, and the harvest is set at the end of August, beginning of September. We follow three strict protocols to make this wine. Pre-fermentation extraction is applied for a few hours using the cold soaking technique, and this is followed by pressure with pneumatic presses, separating the A juice from the B quality juice. Fermentation takes place in stainless steel tanks with controlled temperature and lasts about 10 to 12 days. And then we blend the three different fermentations together. Chios Xynisteri is characterized by its bright green-yellow color. It has an explosive fruity and floral character, dominated by the aromas of citrus and tropical fruits. In addition, it's possessed by harmoniously balanced citrus flavor, such as lemon, lime, and banana, pineapple, lemon blossom, and jasmine. The wine is very pleasant, cool, with harmoniously taste and durability in the aftertaste. For this wine, we follow three different protocols, and when the fermentation finishes, we proceed to blend the three tanks together. This is the wine, white wine that you have been tasted.
Yeah.
If you have some questions.
Yeah, actually, there is a question about wine and food pairing. What would you suggest to this wine?
This wine is very fruity. It's a wine you can drink it with salad, fish, and everything you prefer.
Okay, Aristi. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Stay with us and come back with the red. Okay, at the beginning of reds, and yes, and now let's invite next winery and Panayotis from Constantino. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Marcos? So yes, sorry, I'm terribly sorry. I just didn't check the right list. Marcos and Zambartas. Yes, Marcos Zambartas. Sorry, Marcos, this won't happen again. We can't hear you. The microphone.
You can call me Panayotis, it's okay.
Okay, so Marcos Panayotis Zambartas, hello, and this is your, I have to find my proper list. Yeah, time is yours. Yes.
Well, hello everyone. Very nice to that we gathered together. Now, my presentation is more about pictures than words. Here I chose this picture just so you get an immediate understanding about the viticulture areas of Cyprus. There are vineyards scattered in those mountain hills, and most of it they are in terraces, but there are still some old vineyards there on slopes. Now, what we do as a winery, we cultivate our vineyards organically. We have 10 hectares of vineyards. I'm the first small to medium-sized winery to talk today. We produce around 100,000 liters of wine in total. The Xynisteri that you are tasting is produced, depending on the year, around 15,000 liters. It's produced solely by our own grapes. We don't need to buy grapes for this wine. And as I mentioned, we cultivate our vineyards organic, but it's been now only 2 years since we do this, so we haven't got the organic certification yet. It should come in a couple of years. Now, the Xynisteri is the most abundant white wine, white grape variety and white wine in Cyprus. It performs really well in drought conditions. It's now currently under research in Bordeaux and in Adelaide in Australia. That's where I studied winemaking. And that's an initiative we took with a friend, Alex Copper. Actually, there is Xynisteri being planted now in Australia, in South Australia, in the pursuit for finding grape varieties that they can produce enough grapes with enough ripening, let's say, completion, so the resulting wine would be balanced and, of course, profitable. Now, if we can go to the tasting notes, which is the next slide. Thank you. We are located very close to Maglia Winery that you heard Aristi talking. Actually, my father used to work for that company as well, for that winery. And so we source our grapes from Omodos, mainly in Mandria, the nearby village. And it's, in general, chalky soils. It's around 800 meters above sea level. Mind you that Cyprus has vineyards, grape vineyards, so winemaking grape vineyards. So from 500 to 1200 meters in altitude. We pride ourselves as Cypriot winemakers to say that we have one of the highest vineyards in Europe. Of course, that could only, it's only possible if you go high up, because we are really south and east, and temperatures in the summer can be quite high. It's important to plant as high as possible. In general, they're low-yielding vines, around 800 to 1,000 kilos, or I should say 8 to 10 tons per hectare. What we aim here is to have authenticity. So some of the wine is produced with indigenous grape varieties. We are increasing that proportion with time, depending on how healthy the vineyards are, and we are confident enough that the wild yeast will do what they're supposed to do and not anything else. There is some fermentation. Fermentation is done in stainless steel tanks, and there is batonnage in the tanks just to get some more body and roundness to the overall palate. It is quite typical for the wine from Xynisteri from the region. We try to be very, our intervention is quite mild, quite low. We let things happen on their own. And well, it is a wine that you can enjoy as its own, but light flavors. What I would mention also is pulses. We have a lot of pulses traditionally. Pulses are legumes like beans and all this. It's very good with those foods. I'm ready to take any questions if there are.
Well, thank you very much, Marcos. Any questions, ladies and gentlemen? Something is coming on the chat. Well, that's not a question, but yes, that's an affirmation, let's say.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. So you're next to Omodos. Omodos is the small village with a lot of craftsmen and a lot of tourists, I believe. Yeah.
Indeed.
I remember well, a lost village in the mountains. Yeah.
Indeed.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you. And yeah, we will see you in a while, right?
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, and now Melion Winery. I have a proper list already, and I'm not taking Panayotis for Marcos and Marcos for Panayotis. Yes. Hello. Do you hear me? Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Good.
Just a moment, yes, because it's changing the. Okay.
Okay. So this is
now?
floor is yours.
Okay. Hello, my name is Marinos from Nelion Winery. Nelion Winery is one of the small wineries, as Marco said, that started in the 90s, 1996. My father started the winery, my parents actually. If for the next slide, please. Okay, this is where the winery is located, and I find it a bit interesting to show you also the geographical map of geological map of Cyprus, so you can see the different soils that you can find in Cyprus. We are not going to say a lot about them right now, but where the winery is mostly limestone soil, and a bit further up where through those mountains is the Ophiolithos, where the volcanic soil is. So those are the two main soils in Cyprus. We are mostly in the limestone soil. Nelion Winery, we are between Paphos and Limassol region. We are in Paphos area actually, but we are in the borders with Limassol. As Piotr mentioned, Omodos is also just about 8 kilometers from us. The next slide, please. This is where, the previous one, this is where the winery is located exactly. As you can see, the incline, it's very difficult to cultivate the vineyards because we don't have any straight lines. Everything is with an incline that goes up to 30% in some cases. The winery is located in the Arizos Valley, and it's overlooking at about 730 meters the elevation of the winery. The vineyards are found from 500 meters until 900 meters above the sea level. Each one we treat it differently because at the lowest points near the river we see cooler breeze during the summer nights. The top, the 900 meters above the sea level, we see different temperatures during the maturity of the wines during September. And since we are talking about Xynisteri, we go to the next slide. This is one of our vineyards from Xynisteri. Is the lowest point actually, this one at 500 meters above the sea level. It was still young. This photo was taken 2010, but you can see that we are using in most of our vineyards at Nelion, we use the trellis to support the bush vines. We don't do it the classic way because we need to protect the grapes from the sun. We don't need the sun. We try to avoid the sun. So we are doing we have the traditional bush vines, but we need the trellis to support the vine so the shade happens in the grapes and protects them from sunburns. Because believe me that the sun in Cyprus, especially during July and August, it's very, very brutal. And let's go to the wine. This is what you are going to taste, the Xynisteri from Nifos. This is 100% Xynisteri. The harvest is at the end of September and the beginning of October, and usually because we use 3 different vineyards, the one is 500 meters above the sea level, 700 meters and 900 meters. Usually the maturity has, every vineyard matures, they have about a week or even 2 weeks sometimes different. Every vineyard is harvested by itself. the wine is made differently according to the characteristics of each vineyard, but having in mind that at the end we blend the three wines together and have the wine, the Nelion Imifos, that is characteristic for our wine. The wine matures, so after it's blended, the matures for 4 months in its fine lees. We don't do the batonnage. We keep the lees only to have an anaerobic environment so that we can protect the oxygen. We don't want a lot of the lees to dissolve in the wine. It has a higher alcohol. At our area, we get Xynisteri with 13.5% volume of alcohol. One of our other projects, it's 13.5 that spends time in oak barrels, and higher acidity because of the difference between the day and night temperatures. Okay, that's it from me. Enjoy the wine and see you at the next one.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Guys, we are waiting for your comments. This is the 5th wine already, so you can write something to drink this wine. The best time to drink this wine. Do you see the question, Marinos?
Sorry?
On the chat? On the chat, there is a question on the chat. Where is the best time to drink this wine?
Every time is the best time for this wine. No, seriously. What I like to, because I like to say that the wine has a bit more body and those things, I like to pair it with fish, even poultry sometimes, with a nice refreshing sauce on it, because it feels a bit more, has a bit more body than traditional Xynisteri wines. So this is my opinion, is fish in the oven or even poultry.
I see. And but the life expectancy, let's say, for this wine, how long we can keep it?
Generally for Xynisteri, there was at the first they were saying that Xynisteri doesn't mature. Right now, Xynisteri can mature for at least 3-4 years. You will see a change in the aromas because, as the previous colleagues mentioned, that it has a lot of fruity aromas at the beginning, but after 1-2 years, you will get more nutty aromas and more dried fruits aromas, stone fruits. But the change is there. You will see the change if you have the same wine and taste it every 2-3 years. But after 2-3 years, you will find something different to pair with. If you are in Cyprus, a mature Xynisteri for me is the best pairing with what we call meze, the beginnings of the meze, which you have eggs with something like the. Anyway, now I can't remember the words in my mind.
Well, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I must say my experience with meze is when you are dead already, then the waiter appears and asks, "Ready for some kebabs, sir?" And this is the beginning.
Before you get full, that's when you have Xynisteri, a mature Xynisteri. But after you start getting full, you go to Embarathefti or
Okay. Okay, perfect. New question: do you release single vineyards bottles? Do you release single vineyard bottles? As you mentioned, is a blend from 3 different vineyards.
Yeah, actually, the vineyard that I showed you in the In the photo from last year, we did an experiment with just a 500-liter acacia barrel. And that's, yes, that's the vineyard, is the lowest vineyard, and we found that this vineyard has the more exotic fruits instead of citrus, and we decided to do an experiment with an acacia barrel. We only produce about 600 bottles of that wine, and that's why it's not there with you. And we saw a very good results. This year, the barrels are 2, maybe 3. And at the end, I think this vineyard will not go at the blend of Imifos. Probably it will stay as a single vineyard.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's pass to the next wine, which will be actually this is Panayotis. Panayotis, join us, please. Constantin Winery. Panayotis. I can tell you, Panayotis, you were always with us. Yeah. Hello. Do we hear you? No, I don't.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I do. Okay, Panayotis, so this is your time. Constantin Winery. I just want to say that the vineyards are impressive. One photo of the vineyards, if I'm not wrong, but you will see by your own. Panayotis, please.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I want to thank everyone for being with us today. It's been a pleasure for us to presenting our wines, our wineries, and our word to Poland. So my name, as mentioned before, is Panayotis Constantinou. I'm from Constantinou Winery. I have a bachelor's degree in enology and viticulture, and I'm the enologist of the winery. Constantinou Winery has been established in 1992 from my father, Kostas Constantinou. He started producing wines from scratch based on his experiments and on his own research. Constantinou Winery is located in Limassol, in Berabedi village, an area where it's known for producing wine for decades. And most of the vineyards are placed nearby this area. As mentioned before, the winery is producing around 100,000 to 150,000 bottles per year. And our philosophy is to work with the indigenous varieties as much as we can, so we can show to the world the actual winemaking and vinifications of the island. Today, I'm gonna present to you 2 wines. The first wine is Xinisteria Ioklima 2020. It's a wine made from Xinisteri variety, an indigenous variety of Cyprus, as my colleagues mentioned before. Is the most well-planted variety of the island, and it can be found almost in every wine region of the island. So in terms of the wine, Ioklima is being produced from the winery for more than 20 years. Is one of the most well-known Xinisteri wines in the island. The grapes comes from the area of Afamis. Afamis is one of the highest mountains of the area, which has an altitude on around 1,000 to 1,100 meters from sea level. The grapes are hand-picked from the vineyards, crushed, and cold soaking process occurs for 24 hours before the alcoholic fermentation starts. The inoculation of commercial yeasts occurs by the end of cold soaking, as mentioned before. Fermentation lasts for at least a month under controlled temperature in stainless steel tanks. And during this process, pump overs occurs 1 or 2 times during the whole alcoholic fermentation in order to give some oxygen to the wine and accelerate a little bit the process of the fermentation. By the end of the process of alcoholic fermentation, as a winery, we used to work with the yeast, with the lees of the wine. So we keep the wine in the best possible quality yeast in the stainless steel tanks for almost 2 months, which process enables us to have a more complicated wine and a full-bodied wine. Xinisteri, as mentioned before from my colleagues, is one of the Cypriot varieties which has a low levels of acidity, which fact is not very beneficial for us as winemakers. So sometimes are forced to increase. Sometimes we increase the level of acidity, and it's a wine which can be consumed with, in my opinion, with a cheese platter, a light dish, maybe a fish or a salad with some halloumi in. Very easy to drink, wine with some grapefruits, pineapple flavors, some lemon can be found, lime maybe. There is a yeasty aspect on the wine due to the lees aging. And as a winery, we produce this product on a quantity on around 60,000 bottles per year, approximately.
Okay. Thank you very much, Panayotis. Thank you very much. We have the price also indicated here, Exceller price of this wine. So I believe you replied to the question about the acidity asked on chat. Thank you very much. And another, the best markets for your wines, for your wine. What are the best markets?
So at the time we sell most of our wines in the local market. We have some exports in the UK, some small quantities, and of course we are looking for some collaborations to the international market as well.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Thank you. Stay with us because you come back pretty soon. And thank you. And now, yes, the last one, wine and Evangelos. Last one, white. Yeah, Evangelos, Panayotis, Marcos, Marinos. This sounds holidays. Yeah. Hi, Evangelos. I can hear you. I can see you. That's already good. Yeah. Still can't hear you. Microphone. Yeah. Press the microphone. No. No.
Wait a moment.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, okay. So
Here.
Do not touch. Just go.
Nothing. Hands up. Okay. Dear all, my name is Evangelos Bakalexis. I'm the vine grower and winemaker of Santa Irene Winery. Our winery is situated in the village of Pharmakas, up in the mountains of Troodos, near the city of Nicosia, which is the capital of Cyprus. At the moment, we are handling about 15 hectares of vineyards at an altitude, situated at an altitude between 1,000 and 1,350 meters on mountainous area, where 90% is dominated by the indigenous red grape variety, which is called Mavro, Doppio Mavro or Mavro Ampelissimo. And the rest 10%, it's the also indigenous white grape variety, Xynisteri. So, we grow our own grapes. We don't buy any. We are very, very small, but that's who we are at the end of the day. And all our vineyards are traditional ones. What we mean with traditional vineyards? We mean about historic vineyards, 100 of years of age, 150 years to 200 to 250, some of them maybe more. Absence of terraces. All the vineyards are planted on the physical occurring slopes of the mountains. Dry farmed. We don't irrigate, we cannot irrigate, so we are completely dependent of the climate, the climatic conditions of each year. Though it's not a big problem for us because vines of that age have a very deep root system, up to 10 meters deep in the soil. Moreover, we are talking about mixed plantations. What is that? We don't have single Mavro vineyards and single Xynisteri vineyards. Everything is mixed planted. So Xynisteri is between the Mavro vines. So every time we want to harvest Xynisteri, we must visit every single plot, every single vineyard to harvest all the quantity of Xynisteri. These 15 hectares refer to almost 25 different single vineyards, different plots, which are located in a radius of 5 kilometers, but with facing different and maybe have a little difference in altitude and so on, or a different type of soil or topsoil, as you can see. So, moreover, we are 100% organic. Everything we do in the vineyard, it's extremely labor intensive. We cannot use any type of machine. You can see how characteristic is this picture. Um, what else we can say? We just hold on this slide. We care about the environment because we totally depended on it and the weather conditions. So we try to be as much as sustainable as possible. We don't use any water to irrigate our vineyards. We are organic, and in the winery, we try to be very light-handed, minimal interventions. We avoid the use of pumps, and we because we have a very small lots of grapes, and we try to vinify each one separately. We do most of it manually inside the winery. We can we also in a few words we talk about only two varieties: Mavro, which is 19% of our grape production and consequently of our wine production, and the other 10% Xynisteri, the white grape. Only these two. And why these two? Because our vineyards have only these two grape varieties, and they are indigenous. They are better adapted to Cyprus, the soil, the weather, and all the conditions, and they are better. They ripe better. And they have a better phenolic maturity in the vineyard. We got better grapes, so better wines. Let's proceed with the slide of the technical sheet of the Xynisteri. Thank you. Okay. So we start harvesting almost 2 months after the beginning of the harvest of the international varieties planted in Cyprus, which means mid-September until the early November. We start with Xynisteri. We try to harvest first the Xynisteri. We don't have problems with the maturity levels. We want to harvest it fresh to maintain as much as possible natural acidity. We don't like adding things to our wines, commercial things. We try to ferment with indigenous yeast, both whites and reds. We don't like fining our wines, so we want the time to do our job, and we have the patience to do it so. So it's the only Xynisteri here at this flight from 2019. We would like to show the aging potential of the variety. It is a fruity but also an earthy wine. It's a gastronomical wine. It goes very well with food. It's more firm in the mouth and round. We want our wines to be balanced. There is a slight sense of tannins in it, and that is because the 10% of this wine has fermented in clay vessels, old clay vessels. We'll call them pithar in Cyprus, and this percentage has fermented as a red wine with the grape skins for about 10 days. And later the grapes were pressed, and all the wine incorporated, blended with the rest 90%, which was tank fermented, and all the batch was matured in oak vessels of 225 liters for about 6 months. I think these are, in a few words, our winery, and as far as Xynisteri is concerned, if you would like to ask anything, please be my guest.
Thank you very much, Evangelos. I must say this stone vineyard was really impressive. How big it is?
What do you mean? Every plot, each plot?
No, the size of this vineyard on the photo.
There is the median size of every vineyard is between 0.3 to 0.4 hectares, something like this.
Okay.
Very quite small. That's why we have at least 25 different plots, 25 different vineyards for the 15 hectares that we are handling right now. And believe me, it's a unique experience to work outside in these vineyards and being all day, because 90% of our effort is outside there. We try, as I characteristics say, we don't make wine, we grow grapes. 90% of our time is out there. So 99% of the quality of our wine is being formed, is being produced out in the field, high up in the mountains.
Okay. Thank you very much. You have some congrats here on the chat.
Thank you.
From the participants. Thank you. Yes, this
Thank you very much.
Seems a very hard work. Yes, I believe you. Perfect. Thank you. We see you.
See you
in
later.
In a moment. This was the last white. This was the last wine, white wine, and now we start with Aristi. Hello, Aristi again.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello. So, please go on.
Okay, we continue with the red one. Red one is the Othello. Othello is a red dry wine. The variety composition of this wine is Mavro, Ophthalmo, Carignan, and Mataro. And the production of this wine is 120,000 liters. The grapes come from vineyards from Limassol and Paphos area, and the harvest is set at the end of August, in the middle of September. We proceed with the classic red winemaking with skin contact, and fermentation takes place in stainless steel tanks with controlled temperatures. Fermentation lasts from 12 to 14 days, and then we proceed with the final blend, which is a marriage of indigenous and European varieties. Usually, the percentage is 50% indigenous and 50% the European varieties. The organoleptic characteristic of this wine is a wine pronounced with aromas of red fruits, berries, and sweet spices. It has got an elegant tannins which contribute to the soft taste and aftertaste of the wine. You can see the distributor that we collaborate with, the exports of Commandaria. We don't export any of these wines to Poland. And this is our red wine. If you have any questions.
Okay, thank you very much. So your importer is Logimp, yeah, from Tomaszów Mazowiecki, I believe.
Yes, we collaborate with the export of Commandaria.
Okay, with Commandaria. Okay, great. Thank you very much, Aristi.
Thank you.
If any questions in the chat. Okay, perhaps may come afterwards. Thank you. And now it's Evangelos again. And Santa Irene. Evangelos? He left, perhaps. No? Evangelos, yes. Right, yes, so, yeah, he's back. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay. It was very soon.
Well, yes, it was shorter than
Yes.
Anyway, so is it snowing already in Cyprus? Yes.
No, not yet, I'm afraid, but we hope so in the next few weeks. Why not?
Okay.
We have quite often snow in our region because of the high altitude, of course, and it's very beneficial for our vineyards and the environment in general. So I would like to add some more things, some more points, and then proceed to the red wine. And I would like to speak about our ambitious effort, which is not other than to preserve and save from extinction as many as possible of these traditional vineyards, which because it is true that we would like to say that we make wine, but I see myself as a museum keeper. And we want to keep alive the viticulture tradition of Cyprus and Europe and worldwide at the end of the day, because this is one of the very few places on earth, I believe. I haven't gone everywhere, so I imagine where we can find all these unique characteristics combined, as it's the altitude, the age of the vines, the slopes. We have slopes up to 120%, which means 60 degrees. You can barely hold on straight on these slopes, and dry farming, and what else, rocky soils and all this stuff, and it's the combination that makes it pretty unique. And as far as inside the winery is concerned, the winemaking were pretty simple. We cannot be otherwise, because if we were very we interfering with the wines inside the winery, we wouldn't respect our job outside in the vineyards, in these vineyards. So we pretty simple. We just crush. We add very light doses of sulfur, especially post bottling, and we wait for the yeast, for the indigenous yeast, to do all the rest. Of course, we know what we are doing. We are monitoring the fermentations day by day. We react if something doesn't go as it should. We use stainless steel, we use clay pots, we use oak barrels, open top oak barrels. We use whatever necessary to for the best expression of the grapes and the vineyards, of course. So we try to make terroir wines. We would like to produce wines signatures of their origin, origin. Okay. We can proceed to the wine. Yes, of course. I'm sorry, I don't stay too much on the tasting notes of the wine, but I see it quite different. It's mostly an experience for me, and I hope for you also, than another food, another product. And what we have here, we have very big maturities here. The alcohols, fermentations very easily reach 15, 16, maybe sometimes higher, but The very important to these wines is without fining them, without adding or extracting anything from them, everything is quite balanced and very well integrated, and nor acidity, all the high alcohol, all the tannins step out of the of the body of the totalness of the wine, and that's our aim at the end of the day, to make harmonious wines, to make very balanced wines, straight from the fruit, from the grape. Very, as I said, very low sulfurs. This has 20 ppm total SO2. That's everything for me. Thank you very much.
Well, this is really harmonious. This is really,
Thank you.
it's well done. I like it, I must say.
It's a baby. It's a baby.
Here, but I like it. Yeah.
It's a baby. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Right. Thank you very much, Evangelos. And now it's coming another winery, which is Nelion and Marinos again. Yeah. Marinos. Hello.
Okay, hello again.
Hello.
Okay, the red wine that you are going to taste from us is Ophthalmo. Ophthalmo, it's another Cypriot variety. It's one of those varieties that they were left in the outside, let's say, because as you have seen, or as you will see, most of the wineries using Ophthalmo, they use it in blends. The reason I don't know exactly why, but in our area, we get this type of grapes, as you can see them in the picture. We think that is perfect for winemaking. So we are making Ophthalmos a single varietal, and we are probably the only winery producing a red dry wine in Cyprus from this variety since 2006. So we are working with this variety as a single varietal at least 15 years now. We've started as a very light red dry wine. Then we improved it. We think we improved it in a more mature wine, as you can see right now in your glass. And let's go to the tasting sheets. Next one, please. Okay, this is Ophthalmo. The specific wine comes mature. The specific grapes mature at the end of August and the first days of September. It's two different vineyards. They are both situated at the slopes of the Arizos Valley. The one is at 600 meters above the sea level. It's a goblet system of bush vines. And the other at 800 meters, we use the hybrid way that I talked before with the trellis, but in bush vine format. The vinification, after we bring the grapes into the winery, we destem the grapes. We don't crush them because we don't want to extract very much tannins at the beginning. And after that, we treat the maceration pulp with bijage, meaning we push down the grapes. We don't pump over, so because we want to be as gentle as we can be with this variety. And after the seventh, eighth day, we remove the seeds. So we don't extract any tannins or oils from the seeds. And then we leave for 1 more week the skins into the fermented juice. And when is the right time, we separate the juice from the skin. We cannot, we don't do malolactic fermentation because the acidity and it's high, the pH is low, it's not possible to make. As I've tried a lot of times to make it, and at the end I said, no, we don't do it, so we have to find different ways to enhance this wine. And as you can see, we give more emphasis on the acidity of the wine instead of the tannins, because the area there is good for the acidity, for low pH, and we prefer to have a more smooth tannins and higher acidity. The wine matures for 12 months in oak barrels, French oak barrels, from different forests, so that we can give different characteristics to the end product. The alcohol of the wine is a bit, it's 14% alcohol, and the acidity, as you can see, that's 6.1. It's a unique aromas, I think, unique tastes, and that's why we keep working with this variety, and we think it has a lot of potential as a wine. Piotr.
Okay, thank you very much. How many bottles of this ophthalmo?
Approximately 2,000 bottles of this wine right now. We have planted new vineyards that in 3-4 more years they will give us a lot more of this wine.
And the name ophthalmo, it is somehow related to the ophthalmology.
Okay, because the problem in Cyprus is that the written scripts, we don't have a lot. Okay, the name was originally, and it was in the 19th century that was the written form. They say that because at the bunch of the grapes that we have, the red grapes, they always have 1 or 2 that they stay small and green grapes. They don't ripe, and they probably look like the eye on the on the bunch of the grapes. So they call it ophthalmo. Ophthalmo in Greek, it means the eye.
Yeah, I realize. Okay, yeah, thank you very much. That's how do you like it? Very unique, very unique. Yeah, come on.
It is, yes. Thank you.
It is. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. And now, yes, Marco Zambartas. Marco. Hello again.
Hello. My name is Panayotis, and
Panayotis, you're not Marco, yeah, but you understand Marco. Okay. So that's a small change of. So again, Panayotis, right? The last one will be also Panayotis. So okay,
yeah.
Right.
Now,
Go on.
What I like about this tasting is that there is a lineup of different wines, so you get a really broad understanding of the Cypriot red wines. There is this grape variety called Maratheftico in Cyprus. It's very rare in Cyprus, so it is extremely rare in the world. In Cyprus, it's around 2% of the vineyard area. And of course, I have to say that Cyprus is around 9,000 hectares, which is pretty close to what Valpolicella is as well. So we are very small as a vineyard. So Maratheftico is quite rare. Now, the reason why this grape variety is rare is because it has problems and it doesn't self-pollinate. Unfortunately, the flower of this grape variety is not perfect. A perfect flower means that you have the male part, which stands like this, and in the middle you have the hyperus, which is the female part, and the stamens, the male part throws in the pollen, so there is fertilization. Unfortunately, the stamens on this variety, they look like this instead of like this. So there is no proper pollination. As a result, the bunch of the Maratheftico is quite, it's not homogeneous at all. There are very small green berries that they're full of acid. There is no fruit flavor. And it's pretty much hen and chicken, all milarandage for the ones that they know this phenomena. So what we do at the winery is that we spent 1 week doing exactly what you see on that picture. It's we sort it by hand. We need a week for around 8 to 10 tons of grapes. It's at least 5 people on the sorting table. And it's all hands on deck. It doesn't matter if you are a winemaker, if you are working in the lab, if you are picking grapes, doesn't matter. Whoever is available sits on that table, yeah, or stands, I should say, on that table. So everything is done by hand. Someone would think, why on earth do we still have this grape variety? Well, you will see from the wine. At least in my opinion, it's a wine that it has, you know, a very attractive aroma. Sorry, a very attractive color. The aroma is quite unique. There is some floral aromas. It's not berries necessarily, and that's also something that someone could generalize it for Cyprus, for the Cypriot grape varieties. And also you get the sweet spice from the barrel maturation, of course. Now on the mouth is quite satisfying, pleasing, medium to full body, and it is a wine that, you know, it benefits from maturation. Of course, you are tasting it 2019. I have to say that the 2018, so a year older, currently tastes beautifully. So it is a wine, the way it's made, that it's better to age for 3 years or more. Now, because you asked Piotr before where this, you asked about the where does the name come from? Well, in the local dialect, if you call someone Maratheftis, not Maratheftico, but Maratheftis, is someone that wants to trick you. It's not a nice word to use for someone. So there are many different legends why the name is such, but what I understand is that it's basically because you can never judge the yield. It might look very nice when it's still at the fruit set, but when you start to get the grapes getting bigger and, you know, the rhizome, you get the color, you understand that the vineyard tricked you because it will not have as many grapes as you think at the beginning of the growing season. Now, we choose grapes from we have our own vineyards, but we also buy some grapes. They come at a lower altitude from Pachna village. It's around 600 meters high. And from Omodos, which is around 900. And we get 2 different sorts. In Pachna, we get the more fruity expression, but in Omodos, we get more of the structure. It's higher altitude, poorer soils, so the vines behave differently. Well, then crushed and fermented in stainless steel tanks. It's pretty much the classic red wine production. We complete malolactic fermentation on skins for extra complexity. There is a risk in doing this on skins, but a risk is not something we are, you know, too scared about in Zambarta's winery. And thank you, Eva, for the comment about the bouquet. Now, there is 10 to 14 months maturation. We use all the barrels, and bigger barrels. This floral aroma is quite, I should say, quite sensitive. So overdunning with new barrels and small barrique and all this, it can drown the aroma. So we're looking for the bouquet to preserve it. So we use bigger and older barrels. Now, the acidity is there because obviously we cannot remove every single small berry. So there is acidity, and that's why we like to pair this wine with meat that has a lot of fat, like lamb. And in Cyprus, lamb is quite abundant and it's quite traditional to eat lamb. It's not beef, but it's lamb. And so it goes very well with traditional dishes. I'm pretty confident that this wine can age up to 10 years. I've been tasting. We've been producing this wine from 2006. I should say 10 years, it really, then it starts to drop at least. So at least is what we know now. So that's all from me. I hope you are enjoying the wine.
I believe we did. Yes. Thank you
Sorry
very much.
for the joke. Sorry for the joke.
No,
Beyond,
thank you very much, Marcos Panayotis. That was very pedagogical, as you know how it ends when you do not use the spittoons during the tasting. So yeah, I'm a living proof of how it ends. Okay, thank you very much. And now the real Panayotis, unless you have any comment.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Real Panayotis and the last Constantino winery.
Hi there. My name is Marcos.
I turn off. Go on. This is a Greek trap. Yeah.
So, last but not least, I'm gonna present to you a wine made from an international variety. I'm sure that all of you are familiar with Shiraz variety. As a winery, we wanted to show something else as well, rather than an indigenous variety. Shiraz Constantino, as you realized, is being produced from 100% Shiraz grapes, which grapes comes from the area of Bahna, low altitude, on around 600 meters from sea level. The grapes are hand-picked and destemmed. The idea behind the destemming process is to remove the berry from the cluster unharmed. So we have a whole berry inside the stainless steel tanks by the end of the destemming process, which fact allows us to have a more gentle extraction of the color and of the tannins of the grape. The process of alcoholic fermentation occurs for 15 days under controlled temperatures. By the end of the fermentation, the skins are placed in a pneumatic pressure machine, from which we take only the first three pressures. So the higher the quality of the juice, the better result at the end of the day. MLF, malolactic fermentation, occurs on this product in order to have a smoother and a more gentle feeling in the mouth and buttery note. in the glass. This wine is being aged for 12 to 14 months in French oak barrels, then another 12 to 18 months in bottles, and then released to the market. So you try now the Shiraz of 2016, which in the market right now. So we have some years coming up as well. And in general points, in my opinion, this wine can be consumed with a fatty plate, with a fatty dish, maybe some lamb or a ribeye steak. And for me, it's an amazing combination. That's all for me.
Okay, thank you very much, Marcos Panayotis Marcos. Thank you. Never more the tastings with Cyprus. Thank you. Well, that was the last wine. Yeah. Any questions? You have the prices. 650 ex-cellar. That's not a bad price. Bravo, everyone. Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Very nice paprika and leather notes on the nose. So this is, I believe, to Shiraz. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Eva. Well, Andreas, if you are still with us, Mr. Christou. Yeah. Hello.
No. Yes. Now you can hear me, yeah?
Now we can hear you.
I'm here. I've watched with great interest. It was a fantastic presentation from all our wineries. And I'm looking forward to tomorrow's part 2. And I'm sure also that our Polish guests, they have enjoyed also and they have enriched their knowledge about Cyprus wines.
I believe so, yes. It's a very interesting presentation, amazing, sinistery, and great. Yeah, well, perfect. Great. Thank you very much. Most of you we see tomorrow, and I believe it's perhaps the Casablanca, how it ends, the movie. I believe it's the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Yeah?
Exactly. And I'm looking forward to let's say sort of speak to convince Polish importers that they already import wines from maybe other markets to put along their side of along their range of products to include Cyprus wines as well. I think this could be very beneficial. It will be increased competition, and at the end of the day, it will be beneficial to the Polish consumer, to the end user of the product. I sincerely hope that my Polish friends will be, let's say, eager and anxious to try and give a shot to the Cypriot wine. And I think we have great faith, not because I come from Cyprus, not because it's my job to promote Cyprus products, but I believe Cyprus wines have great potential. We have invested a lot in Cyprus wineries. We have used constructively EU money in various schemes to upgrade and modernize our factories, and they have used it together with their hundreds of years of tradition in winemaking. And I believe that we should give it a try. Polish people should give it a try.
I agree. Okay, thank you everybody, thank you all. Right, yeah, there are some let's say remarks about the labels, about the presentation of the bottles. So the wine is much better, briefly, wine is much better than the presentation, than the label, except the first two ones, the Xinistry, the Project X. Yeah, the Cyprus wines from the past years, yes, that was totally different. I agree. This is in the past it was more likely made in the lower altitude. Yeah, let's say roughly.
And you know, Piotr, it's very, very interesting on the comments we have been receiving. It is exactly what I said, that they have made a lot of development. They have developed very, very highly the Cyprus wines. They have moved forward.
Yeah, that's
and this is a proof from our guests' comments that they used to know Cyprus wines some years ago. Now they see these wines, and it is obvious that they have developed, and this is appreciated by our guests here.
No, I totally agree. I remember my visit to Cyprus many years ago, and this was, actually the wines were not the same level as now. Yeah.
Actually, I'm sorry if I'm delaying. I'm taking too much time. But if you have seen, most of our winemakers now, they have studied enology. They have bachelor's and master's degrees. Marcos Panayotis, as you said.
Panayotis, Marcos.
Marcos went to Australia to do his master's. Some other winemakers I know, they have been into California, to Napa Valley, and they studied there. And so they, along with the tradition, now we have the education. And this is obviously, it is making the difference.
Sure.
Tradition coupled with education.
That was a very, very interesting first part, and I'm looking forward to the second part tomorrow.
Yeah. Me too. Looking forward. Our ambassador, he had to go because even though he enjoyed the presentation, he had to attend a meeting at the Belgian embassy tonight. So he told me to convey to all of you his many best regards, and he will try to be with us tomorrow.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Andreas. Thank you, all of you, sending the comments and sending the photos. Already received some. Thank you, and see you tomorrow.
Also, I would like to thank our audience, and I sincerely hope that we will hear from them tomorrow as well.
And thank you, the wineries, because you and your wines were the biggest heroes of the day. Yeah.
Okay, guys, have a good evening, and I'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye.